Ba-bam! What's up, YouTube? My name is Anytime Homeboy. One of my favorite things to do when I'm doing something that'll take a long length of time and doesn't require much thinking is listening to a podcast. Okay. There are so many podcasts and they can be so funny, so interesting, and I'm going to share with you right now my top 5 favorite podcasts that I really like listening to and I think you'll really like listening to. Let's go.
Hold up.
Okay.
Number 5,
Ear Biscuits. Ear Biscuits is Red and Link's podcast from Good Mythical Morning, and they talk a lot about interesting topics, like, for example, the best years of their life. Do they like getting recognized? Oreos versus double stuff. It can be quite interesting, and they bring a lot of interesting opinions to it. However, they never really have any guest stars, which sort of makes it dry listening to them over and over and over again. And they talk like the first half of their podcast just about their kids and trips and stuff they take. So, but it can be pretty interesting. Pretty good podcast. Next podcast.
Number 4,
StarTalk Radio.
Yes.
This podcast is hosted by Neil deGrasse Tyson, known for Cosmos, is probably one of the most famous astronomers of all time. He is so knowledgeable about space and brings experts on specific topics to talk so in detail and really answer such interesting and weird questions that people have about space. It can be very interesting and it's easy to listen to an hour, 2 hours this podcast.
Bruh.
Next podcast.
Number 3,
The SmoshCast. This is a pretty funny podcast hosted by the members of the YouTube channel Smosh, which is pretty good and recently bought by Rhett and Link.
You guys like meatballs?
They talk about pretty interesting things and it's pretty funny. Next podcast.
Number 2,
The Joe Rogan Podcast. This is probably one of the most famous podcasts of all time. It is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan brings so many famous people into the show and they talk so in depth about science, about sports, about comedy, whatever. And Joe Rogan seems to know so much about every single topic he talks about. It is insane. And they talk for so long, it's so interesting and can be very funny.
Do we really want to connect ourselves to all these potential arsonists?
Yeah, it's a terrible idea. Terrible. Shouldn't buy one. I said don't buy this flamethrower. Don't buy it.
How many did you make?
20,000.
Next podcast.
Number 1,
Drum roll, please.
Number 1, the Off the Pill podcast.
Okay.
You guys probably already knew I like this podcast from my last video, but I'm going to talk about more in depth about it now. It is hosted by Ryan Higa and other members from the YouTube channel Niga Higa. It is very funny. They have so many different segments, talk about interesting things, and it's a very, very great way to spend your time. I really recommend you listen to this podcast. They often have lots of YouTubers on it, and they talk about YouTube and very interesting topics. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Anytime Homeboy, and last video I tried to become a meme.
Bruh.
It didn't work, so I'm gonna make my own memes off of myself. Roll it.
Okay.